Welcome everybody. My name is Dr. Tim Cummins. I'm here with my team doctors, Dr. Zach and Dr. Troy. We're here today. We want to cover a really important topic with everybody, and that's basically Supplements 101. I think that most people are aware in today's society that we have to be doing something to supplement because of just nutritional deficiencies in our food. And so today we want to make sure people are, number one, they're not wasting money. We see it all the time when we have patients come in and they are taking 6-7 different things, and we go through them, help them understand what quality versus non-quality supplements are, because most importantly, if you're going to invest in your health, you should make sure that you're investing in something that you're actually going to get the nutrients from, and it's actually going to do a great thing for your health. And so we're going to start off. We have 4 basic things that we're going to cover with Nutritional 101, and so they're behind me here. So number 1, we're going to talk about farming practices and what's changed in the United States, and kind of how the quality of our food, unfortunately, we've seen a decline in a lot of that nutrient content. Next, we're going to talk about nutritional deficiencies in us. So we understand that when we're not eating foods as dense, what are those things and how are those things leading to a lot of the current chronic disease state and stuff that we're experiencing in the United States. Number 3, how do you identify good quality versus bad quality supplements? Like I said in the intro, it's like we need to make sure that if you're going to invest some finances into your supplements, we want to make sure that you're buying things and you're getting what you are supposed to get out of them. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the core supplements, the things that people need to be doing, and kind of understanding the reasons behind and why those things are there. So I want to start off first talking about the farming practices, some of the soil depletion information. And so turn it over to Dr. Troy here. He's going to talk to us a lot about what's happened to soil in the United States since the early to mid 1900s. So
yeah, exactly. And since we're looking at supplements, we want to make sure that the nutritional value is in there. Well, ultimately, the supplements, nutrition value in supplements comes from what type of nutrition is in the soils that we have that we're actually growing the crops on. And unfortunately, you would think that it should be high in nutrient content, and it's not. In fact, they did this, they looked at the Senate Document 264, and you can look this up, and it's 74th Congress second session. But basically what it states is it looked at the mineral content in soil all across the country. This is 1936. And what they found in 1936 is that farm soils are severely depleted in minerals. The grains, fruits, and vegetables growing in these depleted soils are deficient. Therefore, if the fruits and vegetables are deficient, when they turn those into supplements, those supplements unfortunately are deficient in those vitamins and minerals as well. On top of that, just the fact that we don't rotate crops, or we just leave the same crop in the same area over and over and over again. So it's depleting minerals just from that regard, because you're never getting any type of crop rotation to change out the different complex nutrients that you would find in the soil. And as a result, we've been seeing not only a steady decline, but I mean, this is 2019. Back in 1936, we knew that there was a huge problem with this, and nothing has been done to substantially increase how much nutrients are actually going to get into your soil to boost those numbers up. So here we are, 70 years later, 80 years later, and one can only expect that the decline has just gotten rapidly and more rapidly worse and worse as we've gone throughout the decades. It's quite alarming, actually, and this is one of the reasons why supplementation is so important on where you get your supplements, and again, why we're going over all this, because if you don't have it, then you're going the wrong way really fast, and unfortunately, you're thinking you're doing great things for your body, and it's just not coming out in your foods. So it's something we definitely need to be worried and so about.
Absolutely. So one of the other aspects that's happened is in our society we have the more is better philosophy for a lot of things in the U.S. And so even agricultural practices, as they've become more commercialized, we are altering and we're doing things to the crops in order to get bigger yields. So in the same amount of time that it would take to grow, an ear of corn, we're now getting a bigger ear of corn. Or if we look at the fruits and the different vegetables, we're getting bigger yields of things, but it's still, they can still only grow them in the same amount of time. And so there's been a whole tremendous amount of studies done on, as we've kind of started to alter and hybrid things to try to produce bigger yields, there's just not enough time. So even if there is nutrients in the soil, those nutrients can't get into there at the same rate that they used to. And that's where we're starting to see big things like, there's a lot of studies that say, you have to eat 8 oranges today to get the same vitamin content that was in the oranges from the 1940s or whatever. And Dr. Zach has some information of studies that were done on just that. And it's actually pretty alarming to try to think of like, well, gosh, how would I eat 8 oranges a day? And even if I did, in order to try to get the vitamin A and C and all that stuff out of it, we're also having to unfortunately take in way more sugar and way more other things that maybe the body's saying, well, I didn't need that much of it in order to get those nutrients. So,
yeah, and so back in 1953, UCLA did a study on the California farmlands, and they actually reported that 1 bowl of spinach was enough iron for the human body. But now they redid that same study in California in 1997. And now you actually need 43 bowls of spinach to get the same amount of iron that you did back in 1953. So that's pretty significant. I mean, who's going to be able to eat 43 bowls of spinach? I mean,
I'm hungry, but
yeah,
come on now.
I mean, you have to be a rabbit in order to do that, and that's not who we are.
Right.
So,
and it's important to note that was on the exact same plot of land. So it's
Yeah.
not like, well, we did a study on this land and then we went to some other location and did the study. They literally did it on the same plot of land. So showing that those nutrient depletions, and like Dr. Troy said, so even if you were taking a spinach supplement, if it was coming from that plot of land, there's 43 times less nutrients or iron in that spinach than there was. And then, we have a couple of other ones too, just with a lot of the real popular or needed minerals like potassium and magnesium and all that stuff. Have a great picture here that just shows that over time, so from the 1900s to the 2000s, these blue lines here show the decrease in nutrient density of things like phosphorus and selenium and copper and magnesium and calcium and zinc and iron. And then the red lines actually show some of the chronic disease trends. Now, we're not here to tell you that every chronic disease trend is just because of this, but there's correlational evidence that shows that as the mineral deficiency has gone down, the body struggles to work properly, and that would then increase the burden on the body to try to produce more, to try to produce health. And so these are some of the core factors behind why, if we're experiencing non-nutritious food, and there's no way you're going to eat 43 bowls of spinach. So how do we get the nutrients into our body? It becomes the big question. And so as we kind of wrap up this section just on understanding what's happening in farming, what's happening, and so much of it is that commercialization of stuff that has really led our nutritional deficiencies to start taking place. We can't eat enough food, unfortunately, unless we're doing all organic. We're getting small farm stuff where they actually are doing crop rotation. They are replenishing the soil with good nutrients, all of that stuff. We were talking in preparing for this about like movies like King Corn and some of these documentaries that have been done where they literally are just injecting nitrogen into the soil, and they have these big tanks that inject nitrogen into the soil, and they're growing crops, and it looks like corn, it kind of tastes like corn and all these things, but the yields are just so big on all that corn, and the nutrients just aren't there. And so as we've kind of become more commercialized in our farming practices, unfortunately, it's leading to more and more nutritional deficiencies. All right, guys, so as we've just kind of learned about the nutritional deficiencies that we're seeing in food, the real question becomes what's happening to us. So, we all love food and we want food to have good nutrients, but really the big problem is what's happening to the human body and our cell structures and metabolism and all these things, and why is everything kind of going haywire and our disease process is going crazy in our country. So Dr. Troy is going to start us off just kind of giving us some of the general knowledge about what nutritional deficiencies are doing and what the big things are, and then we'll move on from there. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, like we talked about that land study just a little bit ago, basically they went through the laboratory and they tested all those fruits and all those vegetables, and they found that, we're not getting the nutrients. What they're telling you is in them is not nearly as much as what you need. And unfortunately, because all the vitamins and minerals that we want to have a good supply of them, as we're depleting those out of our systems because we're using them on a daily basis, but we're not replenishing them as quickly as we're losing them. And unfortunately, we're going to empty out all of our tanks of most of the vitamins and minerals that we require essentially for our bodies to work properly to fight off things like disease, cancer, obesity. You know, we're seeing huge alarming rates of all these diseases just skyrocketing, not only in this country, but pretty much countries around the world as well. And unfortunately, we're seeing, because those vitamins are not only depleted in the soil, which goes into the fruit, which you're eating that fruit, so now those vitamin stores are not in your body either. So, you know, we're thinking we're doing these amazing healthy things, and we certainly want to be doing that. But unfortunately, if we don't know exactly what's in the food and what's in the things that we're consuming, then we're doing ourselves a great disservice, and we're thinking we're getting these supplies of vitamins, but most of the time, not only we're not getting them, we're not getting them nearly at the amount or the rate that we need to be taking them on a daily basis. You know, which is one of the reasons why this becomes so important. I'm glad that we're doing this talk, because, you know, this is something that everybody needs to realize on there.
So, there's been a ton of studies, and the government did a lot of this work back in the 90s to really understand what these deficiencies are doing to us. And what they found, actually, when they looked at it, is if you look at the population in the United States, their estimations were 99% of people have some type of a nutritional deficiency when we look at those micronutrients of the minerals and the vitamins and kind of stuff. So, I mean, think about that. 99% of people are having some kind of a deficiency. One of the major ones that they identified was actually magnesium. Now, magnesium is something that everybody's heard of. You know, people take magnesium supplements a lot, and part of it is because they found 68% of Americans do not consume enough magnesium in their diet. And they also found that 19% of the group actually consumed less than half of the amount that they're supposed to be consuming every day. Wow. And so when our body becomes deficient in magnesium at that level, people don't understand that there are over 300 known, who knows how many unknown that we haven't discovered yet, but 300 known chemical reactions that happen in the body that need magnesium in order to make those chemical reactions work. So if we're deficient in that, and this chemical reaction is supposed to go from A to B to C to give us D, but we take B out of it, well, now the body's got to try to manipulate and try to figure out, how am I going to get to D if I don't have this nutrient? And if it can't get there, that's where we start to see the breakdown in our health and chronic diseases. There's a ton of studies that have shown that deficiency in magnesium leads to elevated C-reactive protein. So C-reactive protein is a blood test that you can get done to test the chronic inflammation state or the inflammation state of your body. And one thing that we know for certain is that all chronic diseases, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, all of these chronic diseases that are unfortunately just decimating our population today, they all have chronic inflammation as one of the primary root problems of why that disease is occurring. So something as simple as a magnesium deficiency is creating inflammation in the body, which is then stressing all of these other areas of the body that leads to all these disease processes. So as we're understanding more what those deficiencies do, it's not just magnesium, it's all of the different vitamins and minerals, but just magnesium, just to highlight how important that nutrient is and why it's so important for us to take magnesium supplements a lot of times, or make sure that you're getting a good source in your multivitamin, so that we can make sure that those 300 plus processes are still working efficiently.
Yeah, and so, you know, we talk about macronutrients and micronutrients. A lot of us focus on macronutrients, as in the proteins, the carbs, and fats. And so the thing is, we get enough of that, but really what our body is deficient in is the micronutrients. You know, like Dr. Tim was talking about, the magnesium is one of the key ones that they've done a lot of studies on. And they're saying here is that no man today can eat enough fruit and vegetables to supply the system of the minerals that we need required to have proper health. Our stomachs aren't even big enough to even hold all that kind of food in order for us to be healthy. And the truth is, guys, is our physical well-being is directly dependent on the minerals that we take into our system versus the calories that we take, as in, like we talked about, the starches, the proteins, the carbs, and the fats. So we need to have more minerals in our body, and that's where, like, a lot of multivitamins, great multivitamins, will help us to increase that micronutrient minerals to allow our bodies to function and the chemical reactions to happen inside the body more efficiently.
Right. And so really what it comes down to is we have to understand that even if, you know, but there's no doubt that every one of us sitting here would rather every patient of ours or every person watching this to get their nutrients from their food. And I do believe that maybe it's possible if you were this unbelievably disciplined person and you are buying only organic, fresh, local farm foods and eating seasonal and doing all of the right things the way that we used to do it when we didn't have availability of all this food all the time. But if we could go back to those times and do that, it could be possible. But in today's world, it's unfortunately not possible. And so those deficiencies are crucial at leading to some of the chronic diseases that we're seeing in our country. And so we have to do our best to educate people about why taking certain supplements and why they are really necessary for most people. And I really challenge people that even people that are thinking that they're doing things right, like I feel like I do things and we all think that we're doing things pretty darn good, but guess what? Every one of us take some foundational nutritional supplements just to make sure that we don't have those holes, because I want my magnesium to do all 300 plus of its jobs that it's supposed to do so that my body can run efficiently. All right, everybody. So the real next question is how do we identify a good supplement versus a bad supplement? So Dr. Troy is going to talk to us in a few minutes about good supplements and the things to look for when we're doing that. Dr. Zach's going to introduce kind of why we've got to be careful with the bad stuff and how, unfortunately, I understand finances, trust me, and so people have a tendency to go to these big stores, one that's kind of rhymes with Pam's Club. We don't want to say the real name, but you can probably figure it out. But they go in and they get like these mega jug, multivitamins or these mega jug calcium supplements. And unfortunately, they think like, wow, why would I not buy the 87-month supply for $11 when, they would be asking me to spend, $20 a month for the multivitamin here. And there's very good reasons behind it because the quality of a supplement is so valuable. If you're, most of those other supplements, I kind of tell patients all the time, like I would rather have you just donate that $20 to your favorite charity and not take anything. Because so many of those supplements, because of the synthetic nature and all that stuff, they're actually putting a burden onto your body to kind of detox themselves from your supplements. So not only are you not really getting great nutrients out of it, but there's actually putting a burden on the body. So you'd be better off donate the money to a cause that you believe in and don't take anything. I'd be doing you better. So Dr. Zach, let's just talk about the beginning part of how to identify and why a lot of these kind of real commercial supplements are not what they're all cracked up to be.
Yeah, another hard thing is too is like the labeling. I mean, the labeling can trick you, and so like looking at this stuff here, Spring Valley, it says magnesium, calcium, and zinc. And you look on the back of the ingredients, and it has mineral oils, polyascorbate 80. It has maltodextrin, so sugar in there. There's only three things on there that we should have, but it has 25 ingredients on the back. That's something you shouldn't be ingesting because those are chemicals in your body. Your body is going to become toxic because of that. We got vitamin D. So you think it's vitamin D, there's soybean oil in it, glycerin, and corn oil. So are those things going to be anything with vitamin D? No, there's not. Same thing here with multivitamin. We've got Centrum Silver. We've got these things that are orange highlighted there. These are all known neurotoxins for the body and fillers that combine them together. So our body are supposed to break it down, but it doesn't. So some of these things in here are red number 40, aluminum lake, yellow number 6, aluminum lake, cornstarch, hydrogenated palm oil, modified food starch, sucrose, talc, maltodextrin, and pre-gelatinized cornstarch. Does that have any nutrients into those? I don't think so. Or macronutrients, micronutrients? Nuh-uh. Those are the things that we got to be paid attention to is what is on the ingredients. Can we even read them? Do we understand are the whole foods that we eat on a daily basis or should be eating on a daily basis?
Yeah, and you got to be careful because the labeling is tricky. Like I'm looking at this front of this and it's like Centrum, certified non-GMO and gluten-free. Well,
chemicals are non-GMO.
Yeah, technically chemicals, they can't have gluten in them, and if you don't put any type of real food into it, it's literally, like you're trying to read some of these things, Nicholas sulfate phytonadione, polyethylene glycol, like that's antifreeze stuff. So why is that stuff in your multivitamin? So we talked about how those things actually is a toxicity to your body. So your body's got to get rid of all of those things. Is it so important for everybody to have a red and yellow, so kind of a pink pill or orange pill with Centrum, that they would need to put artificial coloring? Or do you care? Like, do you say, well, I'm not going to take Centrum because it's blue. If it was orange, I would take it.
Yeah,
like, some of this stuff
cool.
is so ridiculous that they're actually like putting synthetic coloring and stuff that we know is neurotoxic to you just to make it look pretty. Like, it doesn't need to look pretty. I want a nutrient that actually gives me nutrients, or a supplement that gives me nutrients. That's what I'm taking it for. And when you have this, when you talk about Centrum in particular, have an X-ray here. It's kind of hard to see. We'll post it for you. But so this patient came in, was taking Centrum Silver every day, like they should, and they're literally, you can see, in the distal colon and the rectum area, there's a Centrum, and it looks like the Centrum Silver tablet that they took. And then there's one in their transverse colon that they took the day before, and then there's one in their ascending colon that they took that day. And so like, if I'm taking a vitamin and it goes in a vitamin and it comes out of vitamin, what kind of nutrients did you get from that?
Zero.
Zero nutrients, right? And it's because the chemical binders that they're using, a lot of those words that we read in there, they are so strong and they're so tightly bound that your stomach acid doesn't even have the ability to break it down. And that's for people that have normal stomach acid. If you're taking a proton pump inhibitor, like the reflux drugs and stuff like that, you don't have the acid that you're even supposed to digest normally food. So if you're putting something like that into your body, there's not a shot that you're getting that. And so that's one of the reasons why we like either capsules, because capsules will break down easily, or food-based or food-grade binders. So if you get a tablet and it's using food-based binders, your body will break it down. So Dr. Troy's going to talk to us a little bit about some of the things to look for in a higher quality supplement.
Yeah, and Dr. Tim said it right, and same with Dr. Zach. Really when it comes down to good vitamins versus vitamins, we're looking at synthetic versus whole food. And whole food's exactly how it sounds. We take the food, we break it down, we pull the nutrients right out of it. So we're not denaturing any of the nutrients, we're not destroying any of the vitamins and minerals that are essential in there. They're all being preserved. And on top of that, they're not synthetic, which means they've naturally been extracted from the fruits and vegetables that we're eating. I like how Dr. Tim had mentioned a few moments ago when we were preparing for this. He said, taking the synthetic vitamins is like having a right-handed glove going on your left hand. It's like, yeah, it's a glove, but it's not a right fit, right? And that's what we're seeing in the supplement world. Is like, yeah, they look like supplements and they're synthetic. So it's like, is your body synthetic or is your body natural? Because I look at it as going, well, my body's natural. I'm not a synthetic thing. So I want natural things to go in my body. And that's where we really want to focus on these things here. And what you'll notice is not only are you getting whole food sources, and like this one in particular, this multivitamin has a whole bunch of your multivitamins and minerals that are in there, again, from whole food sources that have been extracted out, so you know that you're getting these. But then also what they've done is they put different blends in, so actual whole foods, not just the extracted minerals. That way your body can basically take the minerals and the complex food, and you give your body something to do. Your body likes to work, right? You have a stomach because it's supposed to digest food. It's not just supposed to take in certain supplements and minerals on their own. So if you can give your body a little bit more complex things to work with, not only you're going to get the vitamins and minerals, but because it's from the food, you're also going to be getting cofactors and coefficients and things that help the food become complex and maintain its healthy value in nature. And that's really what we want to look at here. And the two main things are, if you look at it like this box here, this is Catalin. Now, it's all 100% like food grade. Like, you won't see, it tells you what the supplements are or what the vitamins and minerals are, but really it's like the blends are, it has carrots in it, it has liver in it, it has alfalfa, it has their whole foods. That's like what's in it, and they just kind of give you an idea of the other minerals. Whereas like this one, again, it has minerals and supplements that they've isolated, but then they've also put back in complex blends of actual foods in order for the whole thing to work a lot better. And this is what you want to start looking for when you're thinking of a good vitamin or a whole food vitamin or supplement. On top of that, you'll notice if we were to crack any of these bottles open, they're all going to be either, like Dr. Tim said, it's going to have an actual vegetable binder to make a tablet, or they're mostly going to be powders or capsules. And that's because, you know, the majority of like the supplements that you get over here on the synthetic side is like, you take one of those supplements and like one of those pills, like maybe 20% of that pill, right, is the actual thing that you need. What is that, like vitamin D or something? And calcium, magnesium, zinc, right? So that makes a very small percentage of what that tablet actually has. The rest of that tablet are fillers that have been pushed together to make it look like this tablet. Well, fillers are not supposed to be in your body, so now once your body eats that, it's trying to extract those vitamins out of there, but then you're also really causing toxicity issues to your liver, to your kidneys, to your stomach. I mean, as your body tries to eliminate that source, and which is, you know, why I really liked when Dr. Tim was saying, you know, if you're gonna go buy those vitamins because they're cheaper, what the better thing to do would be just donate that $20 that you would have spent on that to your charity, because not only are they getting a charitable donation, you're not hurting yourself, and you're not actually increasing the damage that your body caused that is just from taking the supplements. You know, so stick with the whole food things, because this is where your body's going to do the best for you.
Right. And so just to kind of wrap up here, you know, I don't know if you guys remember it was about 2 years ago, they had the big expose in New York where they actually took vitamins from like GNC and Walgreens, and they tested them and said, well, is there really calcium, magnesium, and zinc in this? And what they found was alarming, in that there was a whole slew of these things that actually didn't have even anything in there. It was literally just all fillers and powders. So people are spending money on those, and that's why it's so important to trust and to have recommendations of reputable companies. And it's also the reason why, unfortunately, you know, a high quality multivitamin is not going to be $10 for a 6-month supply. It can't be. And so understanding that will allow you to know what and how to purchase and get the most bang for your buck, so that you're actually getting the nutrients that you're paying for.
It's like that saying, you pay for what you get. Or
Yeah.
You get what you
pay
pay
for.
for.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, so as we've learned now about good versus bad supplements and what to look for, I think it's important for us to now talk about the patients that all of us have dealt with over the years, that come in with a bag of supplements, 40 things, and they're just confused and they don't understand that. So what we're going to talk about is really like the kind of core 3 or 4 type of supplements that people should be on a regular basis, just to fill in those gaps. Make sure that they've got the micronutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, all of those cofactors and coenzymes, so that metabolically your system can actually do what it's supposed to do. And so I want to start off talking, and actually have Dr. Zach talk about his story a little bit, because he, like many people prior to becoming and understanding this, was doing what so many people do, and chasing symptoms and trying to fix my problems, and it sometimes doesn't work out like you think it's going to.
Yeah, and so before I even got into chiropractic, I was struggling with digestive issues, and it just kept getting worse and worse. So I kept, researching. I have this and I have this. Okay, well, this supplement will work and this supplement will work. I ended up, over time, I was actually taking over 17 different supplements to help with my digestion.
Wow.
And really what it was causing me was more harm and more toxicity. So then later my digestion continued to break down, and I started having liver issues, gallbladder issues, because my liver was unable to detoxify itself because of all the supplements I was taking, which I thought was good. So now I've learned a lot. It is definitely learning every single day, learning new things, and that's something that I'm grateful for, is to be able to learn about these new high top quality ingredients and supplements.
Right. And so I have one patient that I've had for a long period of time, and it seemed like for years and years, Dr. Google can get people in trouble, right? You Google, oh, I'm tired, and you go to Google and type in, what can I do for tiredness? Well, there's about 7 million things that are going to pop up, and people are trying to filter through all that stuff, which is why it's not, using Dr. Google for all of those types of things long term isn't a great plan. And so I had a patient who would come in, and literally every 6 months, as she retired, she had a lot of time on her hands, and so guess what she would do? She would be Googling a lot of things, and then pretty soon she's like, well, my hair is falling out, or my nails are too thin, or I am fatigued, or this, and pretty soon we'd have this big bag of supplements, and she'd come in, and literally about every 6 months she'd come in, bring me 15, 18, 20 different things that she's taking. I would go through all of them, and then we'd get it down to 4 or 5 things that she really needs to be taking. And then she would say, great, you're right, let's do this. And not only was it a lot less pills to take, but guess how much money she was saving,
Right.
you know? And so you can totally afford a higher quality supplement if you're not buying 37 low quality supplements. And then about 6 months after that, we would have another meeting, and she'd bring in 12, 15, 18 supplements that she's been on. And actually, you had to go through this cycle a few times with her before she finally said, okay, I hear what you're saying. I'm wasting a lot of money on all of these different things. And so I want to be able to do better. And so I'm just going to stick with these core supplements. And as we're sticking with those, we're going to find that it's actually giving your body what it needs. You're still eating food, so we don't have to have, that's why, people that get into that trap of taking 18, 20 different things, you have to be careful, because like Dr. Zach said, that actually puts a burden on your body, and your liver and your kidneys are like, what the heck's going on here? Why am I getting bombarded with all these things? And so taking those core things, eating a good nutritious diet, because like we just stated before, that supplements are not intended to allow you to eat horribly. Like, eat all McDonald's and eat at all these different places, but just take your supplements and you'll be healthy. It's not a true statement. So Dr. Troy is going to talk a little bit more about those core supplements and the things that we need to be doing to help ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll say, Dr. Tim had one patient like that. It's not one patient, you guys. It's so many people that we're seeing. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have people literally bringing in garbage bags or just bags of stuff. And when we actually look at it, we go through them, and maybe some of the stuff that they're taking is good, but I'll tell you, a lot of the 20 or 30 things that they're taking, there's some of the similar vitamins and minerals. So we get through, going through all of them, and I look at each one of the supplements, and I'll separate them out. And what we realize is these core 4 supplements that we're going to be going over, these 3 or 4 here, if you take these, you're getting about 90% of what's in that other 30 things. And like you talked about, if it comes down to how much money are you spending, is that why you're buying the cheaper stuff? It's well, if you're taking 30 of them, there's no way that 30 of these bottles, is less money than 4 of these things. It's just not happening, right? That's ridiculous. So, when we look at the core 4, providing you're eating pretty decent nutrition, and that's another talk somewhere else. But just from a supplement standpoint, these are the ones that you want to make sure that you're getting. So a good one is you want to make sure that you're on a very, very high quality men or women's multivitamin. Now, it doesn't have to be specific men or women's, but a really good quality vitamin, like we talked about, from whole food, that has good complex blends in it that your body has to work towards to get out. So multivitamin, and that will cover the majority of what's over there in those bottles, right? In just one little bottle here. You can also do the Catalin, which is a great multivitamin, and it's all from a whole food source. So like we talked about earlier, these ones are really important. The next one is going to be an optimal omega, or an omega-3 6-9 fatty acid blended supplement, because we know that, like we talked about, inflammation is one of the root causes, either directly or indirectly, causing all of the diseases that we're finding in this country today that are wiping us out. And being on a supplement that is good for that, like an omega-3, is going to lower our inflammatory level and just help us in health in general. And then lastly is a vitamin D. And I had a mentor of mine that said, if you have $20 and you want to make a huge impact to your health, and that's all you have, he said, you buy a vitamin D supplement, because so many people are deficient in it. And like the magnesium, there's just hundreds of chemical processes that just vitamin D alone are needed for the entire body, and most people are not getting it because we're being told to put sunscreen on. We're not getting, all these things. So it's certainly important to make sure that we're on a good quality vitamin D. This one comes with probiotics, which helps you absorb a lot of the vitamins and minerals that we're talking about. And those would be the core 3 supplements to be on. And then the next thing would be, getting a good greens powder. Now, this is literally vegetables, like a whole bag of vegetables that they've kind of cooked down to a point, and now it's in a powder like this. So a lot of people that don't get a lot of vegetables in your system, or you don't like a lot of green or any color vegetables for that matter. Like, I know for me personally, there's still a lot of vegetables I just don't like. I've come a long way from before chiropractic. When I lived in undergrad, it was like, the hell's a vegetable?
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese, right? Like the cheese is a vegetable somewhat, right? Like something, and now I've definitely diversified what I'm eating, but I can always do better. So, for me personally, I'll put a scoop of this in my morning shake every single day, just to ensure that I'm getting, you know, all these other quality, not only nutrients, but veggie blends. I mean, there's broccoli in here, there's spinach, carrots. I mean, there's more vegetables in a scoop of this than I could probably eat in a sitting. So you're really making sure that you're getting a huge amount of nutrients, and it's especially important for people, you know, like me and like others who really don't like or don't get enough vegetables in their system. It's really easy to do, you know, and you'll be guaranteeing that you're getting a good supply of all those healthy nutrients to keep your body healthy and well. So
yeah, you know,
stay there.
and that last one is so important, guys. You know, it's kind of why we call it the core 4 things, because there are people that literally say, you know, I'm not eating broccoli and Brussels. I'm not eating those things because I just don't like them or I don't digest them well. There's a lot of reasons why people don't do it. And if you're really honest with yourself and you look at the standard American diet, where, you know, maybe in the morning you're eating, you know, oatmeal. Well, you know, there's some fiber in that, but there's no vegetables in that. And then at lunchtime you're eating, you know, a burger and fries or you know, tacos or something. Well, unless you had some of the shredded iceberg lettuce, which has zero nutrients in it anyways, you know, you didn't get any vegetables there. And then at dinner time, maybe you're eating some kind of a protein source with some broccoli or a, you know, some kind of a veggie or a salad or something. So yes, we got it. But if we're supposed to be getting, you know, 5 to 7 to 9 servings of vegetables every day, if you looked at that, you got like maybe 1.5.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's the truth for most people, unless you're a vegetarian or something like that. But for the people eating the standard American diet, that's just a true statement. And so our goal with this whole workshop is just to really give people that basic education. One, we want to save you money. Okay, we want to make sure that you're not putting toxic things into your body, things that won't break down or have so many synthetic chemicals in them that it's actually a burden on your body in order to function right. Number 2, we have to understand that even if we're trying to do a great job in eating things properly and all that stuff, that even the best people, they're probably still deficient in something, just because the quality of the food and the soil just is depleted, in the way that we're changing the way we grow crops and stuff have just not allowed the nutrients to be in the food. So getting into those things, we want to make sure that we've got some good core supplements. As we kind of move through our webinar series, we are going to be talking more specific things in the upcoming webinars. We'll have one focused on like digestive health. You know, Dr. Zach has done a great job of conquering a lot of those issues that he had with the digestion side, and we'll be talking about, you know, what do we need to do for strong bones, and why, you know, calcium supplements. That's another huge one that we could just do a whole half an hour thing just on calcium supplements, because most of those calcium supplements, like this one, it's calcium carbonate, which is chalk. And it doesn't absorb well, and they've actually now research is showing that it actually hardens arteries faster and different things. And so again, people are taking these things thinking, man, I'm doing such great things for my body, I know I need calcium, and yet it's creating a burden in your body. And so all of those things are being said, guys. Our goal is really just to help people strive, reach their potential, help their bodies heal so that they can live their purpose and really just increase the function. And it can't be done, unfortunately, in this world, but it can be done if we live in this world where we're actually being very particular about that. So, you guys have any closing statements?
No, I think we covered it. Yeah.
Just stay
Tune in
strong
next
and
time.
healthy.
Yep, stay strong and healthy. See your chiropractor. If you don't have one in your area, go to maxliving.com and you can do a search, find somebody, because we know that those people are carrying high quality nutrients, and they've got the right mindset to really get the same type of results that we're getting in our office with our patients every day.
Perfect.
All right, thanks
Later, guys.
for watching.